Hello, what's up everybody? This is your host, Sam Capizzi at Crypto Somniac, here to bring you everything crypto related, where the rich never sleep. Today, I'd like to present to you a new ICO called Bitclave. So thank you all for tuning into this video. I must disclose that this was a paid ICO review, so I'll try to keep my opinions as unbiased as possible. I do really like what they're trying to do, however, and I do feel qualified to speak on their behalf after reading the white paper and being an engineer and having a lot of experience in the background of basically smart contracts and blockchain technology and how a lot of this works. So, without further ado, they are a decentralized search engine trying to change and revolutionize the way advertising is currently used. Let's talk firstly about their team. They have a very strong team. So, Alex Bessanoff is their CEO. He has his master's in comp sci from the Israel Institute of Technology. He was a senior software developer and engineer at a number of well-respected companies, including eBay, Microsoft, and Informatica. Additionally, he was the former chief security officer over at LG. So all those flat screen TVs you got in your house, he was working with them. Next, we have the chief technology officer, Patrick Togg. He is an associate professor at Carnegie Mellon. He has his PhD in engineering from the University of Washington, and he has a wide range of skills that include things like networks, mobile, wireless, smartphone security, and the Internet of Things. He is really an expert when it comes to security-related issues. Next is Emmanuel Owusu. He is the chief architect. He has his PhD in engineering and public policy, also from Carnegie Mellon, a very well-respected school here in the United States. He is an expert when it comes to the blockchain and the Internet of Things, and he's also the head of technology in another company called EEME. Vasily Trofimchuk is the project manager. He has his master's in comp sci and an MBA in expert and advertising. He has experience in blockchain and management as well as game theory. So I thought this is, again, not their only set of team members. Their team is actually located here in California, I believe Mountain View, and they are a very good, well-put-together team here. This was just a few of their members. So talking about a Bitclave in a nutshell. So Bitclave is seeking to disrupt the advertising space. Currently, businesses use a really inefficient model of advertising and pay a ton of money in the process. It is extremely inefficient. So in today's world, we are constantly being interrupted with ads, whether that be on Facebook, on TV, billboard advertisements, and we just have become immune to it, or we've really just accepted it as norm every day, all the time. And if you think about it in a more physical medium, say if someone wanted to come up to you and sell you, a pitch on their CD, you would kind of just ignore them and you'd walk right by them and you'd say, screw off. And it's just interesting to think about because we allow all of this in not sort of the physical medium that I just described, but in this sort of implicit style where we are force-fed these ads on Facebook and Google and on billboards, and we don't even think twice about it. Bitclave is aiming to bring those advertising, that space from basically publisher to middlemen to customer, and bring it and tie it together from business to customer directly, avoiding a lot of the wasted advertisement and the inefficiencies currently in the advertising space. And the advertising space is pretty huge, so there's definitely a market here for this, and it's a bit tricky to understand, so let's break it down. So let's cover the problem. So the problem here that I mentioned is publishers that pay or get paid a lot of money from businesses. Some of these publishers, the largest ones, include your Facebooks, your Googles, your Amazons, and it certainly extends well beyond them. And they get paid a lot of money to advertise to the customers, and they spend millions of dollars, billions of dollars, and we have a lot of low conversions still. I know we've had things like the advent of CPC, cost per click, and still there could be a better process. There's still a lot of money left on the table, or for lack of a better term, I guess the money is on the table and it's sort of just disappearing and it's not being used as effectively as it could be. So the problem in detail, so businesses are forced to pay these huge sums of money to marketing capital agencies and middlemen. And the middlemen don't do a good enough job at targeting customers that actually provide value to their businesses. There isn't a lot of well done or conversion that warrants the huge budgets that these advertising agencies have to spend to capture an audience. It's like throwing out a humongous fish net and bringing back, a couple of tuna. It's very inefficient. So additionally, there's a fact here in the white paper, 50% of all advertising is actually done by bots. So, bots certainly don't have the ability to target as specific or convert as well as we possibly could have. The solution that Bitclave seeks to use or bring is moving a lot of this to the blockchain or the activity ledger. So businesses can publish advertisements, offers, ads, engaging ads to the blockchain. The customer can choose to operate or interact with which ones they want to based upon set criteria that they have full control over. And we'll talk all about what kind of control they have. And they can see this ad directly. We don't need to go through Google anymore or Facebook. We can go right through the activity ledger that Base or Bitclave is providing, and the customer can interact directly with the business and actually get paid for engaging with that ad. Whether they choose to proceed and actually buy a product from them or not. So it's a really revolutionary piece of technology I think that they're working on. And let's talk a little bit more in detail. So the current keywords, some of the most expensive keywords on the internet range from about $45 to $60 per click. They cited 3 in their white paper. I believe they were lawyers, degrees, and I forget what the other one is off the top of my head. It wasn't job search. But anyway, these are some of the most expensive cost per clicks, and really a lot of inefficiency here in this model. So starting with lawyers and legal advisors, a lot of money is spent, like I said, casting these broad fish nets. But by using Bitclave, the user can actually choose to release only certain information about his use case and basically curtail that and be matched up with more lawyers that are looking to help him and quickly find what he's looking for. Additionally, educational degree programs. So there's a lot of big schools that have massive advertising budgets and kind of dwarf the small schools, yet some of the big schools are still struggling with enrollment. Likewise, for smaller schools, say for example, you have a student in a hometown that wants to go to a good biology school, but close by, probably a smaller school. And they're struggling to do that. So they could use Bitclave to release certain information about themselves and be paired up or matched only with schools that fall under those classifications or offers that they're seeking. And they can interact with those schools, and the schools can extend better offers because they know that the offers that they're extending are more likely to convert. Additionally, this can be applied in the job search arena. So a lot of job profiles and requests out there are very broad. And meanwhile, same thing on the user end or the employee end. So they can be a lot more curtailed. They can be a lot more specific. And job searches and employees can better match themselves with more qualified jobs and offers. Similar thing in asset management. So a lot of retirees are looking to have someone manage their funds and assets. And what becomes the issue is that certain people don't want to disclose certain information, and it's a struggle to find the right people to work with. So Bitclave allows someone to release certain pieces of information, say your age or how much money or what tax bracket you're in, and be better paired with a fund manager that is qualified to manage those specifically and only be matched up and have your information released to those corporations or industries or companies that are more likely to be able to handle your work. In the white paper, they go over a detail and specific, and I'll reference this one multiple times throughout the presentation. So The decentralized search engine might be applicable to, say, searching for a new car, say a white Toyota Corolla. So they say on average it takes about $200 per car, where cars spend about $200 on advertising, and that takes place in the old efficient traditional model I mentioned. It might be in newspapers, on billboards, on TV, and they're casting a very large net with very little conversion. What you can do as a customer is curtail a lot of your information again and search for specific criteria, and car dealerships can extend you offers. In the process, you can offer CAT tokens, and we'll talk more about CAT tokens, but that is the token that the Bitclave's ecosystem uses to exchange or interact with a lot of these ads, and you can be paid for engaging with them. Meanwhile, the car dealerships can extend better offers through this whole process by having classified and ordered detailed information on the blockchain. Some of the benefits of the car dealership would be that they can choose at which time to resume advertising to certain customers. So their information can be tracked on the blockchain. And again, whatever pieces of information that the customer is willing to release is what information can be seen. So you don't have to release anything you don't want to. They can choose when to offer certain discounts because they'll be able to see patterns and regularities in the customer. Additionally, they'll be able to offer ads or engaging opportunities on accessories for the car. They'll also be able to see a customer's rating and what their conversion rate looks like, so they'll be able to extend better offers for customers that have better ratings and higher conversion rates. And over time, they'll be able to analyze and optimize a lot of this information based upon what information is presented by the customer, and again, how often they choose to interact with ads, how likely they are to convert, what other things they're searching for, and it creates overall a better ecosystem and opportunity for both the user and consumer. The Bitclave Active Search Ecosystem, the acronym for that being BASE. So let's talk a little bit more in detail about how it all works. So it's based on the Ethereum blockchain. This is an ERC20 compatible token, and the token is called CAT, the Customer Activity Token. It will be traded under the ticker name CAT. Now, each person, and let's talk a little bit about personas. So a persona is a way that a user chooses to describe himself while interacting with the Bitclave ecosystem. So for example, you know how you are targeted with ads from a variety of search fields or search properties that you used prior. So maybe you search for dog toys while searching for clothing for your child, while searching for a new car, and you become spammed with all of these rotating ads. In the Bitclave ecosystem, you can create a persona and as many as you want, and you can choose to release as much or as little information as possible. So your persona can include things such as your age, your income bracket, your city where you live. You can have a bunch of search preferences and interests, essentially as much or as little information that you choose to want to expose. And you can basically turn it off or on. If you don't want it to use and release your city, you don't have to. You can curtail all of this information to your liking. Now, this is what it will look like on the blockchain. So at minimum, these features here listed are what is necessary for Bitclave to operate. So each activity that gets logged onto the ledger is tagged by a reference key number, and each is basically attached to an originator. So an originator is the person that basically is transacting here with the ledger. It's used to uniquely identify each user. Then we have an activity type associated with each transaction, and we'll cover them on the next slide. Additionally, the details of each transaction or each activity, such as how much of something was purchased, what was purchased, etc. And then lastly, we have a timestamp, so the date that the activity actually occurred on the blockchain. The activity type, so there will be a number of different activity types, at minimum these 5. So there will be a request, so you request or search information on the blockchain or in the Bitclave search engine. Offers are the offers that companies and businesses can choose to extend to these users. Users can then choose to view it, which is also logged onto the ledger, and then they can choose to buy or sell something. So the sell would actually, I guess, be the company or the business. So these are the 5 different activity types that can be listed. talking about the example prior with the car. So this is a little example of what some of the activity might look like on the ledger in the example of that car. So say a user wants to submit an activity or submit a request rather on the search engine, and it would come up under this fashion. Activity from originator A sends a request and searches for Toyota Corolla, and that is timestamped. Then the business or company or car dealership can choose to view that offer or request rather, and their details and activity details are all stamped on the blockchain at a certain time. Then the user can buy and view that offer. Can buy that offer that is extended to them. And again, all this is detailed on the blockchain under a unique activity identifier, as you can see listed above. And that would sort of be the process that it might look like on the blockchain. Of course, there might be some intermediary action where, you know, they view the offer and they don't actually proceed, and maybe they search and request another request before actually buying. But this is just a small little sample of what some of that might end up looking like. This is it on the a little bit of an overview here on the blockchain. So the potential buyer again would submit a request to the blockchain, and that activity is seen by, say, Chris's Auto or the car dealership or your garage, and they could take a look at all these requests and then choose to make offers based upon that request and analyzation of those activities. And they'll submit an offer, and that runs again through the blockchain, and then the customer or potential buyer can interact with that offer. They can view it, they can choose to buy it, they can choose to ignore it, they can choose whatever they want. And that's just what this whole ecosystem here looks like in a visual representation. Now, I mentioned earlier the ability to create a number of personas. So you can create, say, a personal and a business persona. You can create as many personas as you want. You can have all your dog toy information. You can have all your child clothing information, your own information for clothing, your electronics consumer persona. So if you don't want electronic advertisements to show up when you're searching for dog toys, then that can totally be possible by choosing to anonymize all your personas on the ledger and creating as many as you want. However, what I think is really cool that Bitclave does is allow the linkability at user's will between these personas. So we're going to go through this example here where that might be advantageous to the user. So say the user gets into a serious car accident and they need a number of services. Say they need a lawyer, they need a new car insurance, they need a chiropractor, and they also need a repair garage for their smashed car. What Bitclave allows them to do is link those previously anonymous personas. So, they could have searched for a lawyer and a chiropractor separately, but they will be given the opportunity to link all that information together, and the companies and businesses will be able to offer discounted prices, stronger offers with, increased confidence in what they're offering. They'll be able to extend offers that they know will convert and be more likely to convert. They could offer garage and a lawyer together as a package at a 20% discount because they know that they're making money not just from one place, but two places. Talking about the consumer activity token. So again, this will be the medium or a token that is used to exchange and facilitate all transactions on the ledger. It is traded under the ticker CAT, and this is what it looks like. And again, people will be able to earn CAT tokens and rewards on the blockchain in a number of different ways, by interacting and engaging with the ads, by viewing them, a number of different ways that people can earn CAT tokens. So you are basically paid for your advertisements. So instead of getting junk mail in the mail, you are basically getting paid to look at some of that junk mail. And by being able to target more specifically, it turns into less of quote unquote junk mail and more targeted, optimized advertising. Now, this is what it looks like sort of on the blockchain. So they are using the Ethereum blockchain, and we're going to talk about some of the other solutions that they offer in addition. But here on the left, we have the customer interacting with the blockchain. They could submit requests to that blockchain in step 1. In step 2, that gets submitted to the Bitclave-based server system. And what that system sort of does is it operates and coincides with the information that's stored on the blockchain. And you see in step 4 where the businesses interact here with the blockchain, and they're able to submit offers to the customers on the other end. In the middle, the Bitclave base server engine is basically used to optimize these offers and requests. So the whole idea behind it is basically finding customers that are meant to be matched up with businesses and optimizing and creating as many of those relationships as possible. So the search engine takes place in the background while everything is stored and operated here on the Ethereum blockchain between business and customer. Now, some of the issues that Ethereum presents are present. So there's scalability concerns with Ethereum, and that is currently taking place and being addressed with things such as the innovation and talks of Plasma and Raiden Network. So they are entertaining the idea of off-chain decentralized storage. So a lot of these transactions, and there will be many in the use cases that Bitclave proposes, are costly, even small ones. Storing just small bits of information can be costly. We can quickly get into the range and magnitude of millions when we're talking about storing these little pieces of information. So Bitclave is aware of some of the opportunities in decentralized storage platforms out there, such as Storage and Siacoin, and they will utilize any or all of them to enhance the scalability of their platform, which I think is definitely going to be necessary to adopt this and take this mainstream. Additionally, there are concerns about the speed of Ethereum, which are being addressed with, again, Raiden. So Raiden is sort of like Bitcoin's equivalent of Lightning Network. And what that is it's basically peer-to-peer secure channels. So business and consumer can basically operate on a side channel completely separate from the Ethereum blockchain. What they can do is interact and transact completely separate off on a side chain, and as many transactions as they want. And as long as they report basically the final output to the Ethereum blockchain, that's all anybody really needs to see or cares about. So they can do that all separate from the blockchain, allowing less congestion, and then report the final result onto the blockchain. So they're also aware and will utilize peer-to-peer secure off side chains to their advantage. Now, this is it sort of summed up. So again, there are concerns with scalability and transaction speed. They are looking at other platforms that present better opportunities, such as EOS, Neo, and Qtum. They are also aware of some of the security and anonymous features that things like Zcash and Monero present. I did mention the distributed storage system, so they're taking a look at things like Filecoin storage and Siacoin. And then I mentioned, again, transaction speed, so hopefully the advent of Raiden and Plasma on Ethereum can present solutions to their concerns in that regard. So this is the roadmap. So the ICO and crowd sales takes place in Q3 of this year, mid-October. There's no official release date yet. And they'll be launching that pre-sale and start initial alpha testing. By the end of the year, they'll be looking to complete that crowd sale and release the beta version of their platform. Additionally, the tokens will all be distributed at that point and start to become listed on some exchanges. The release of open software development kits will take place early next year, and they will really start building out the ecosystem and community platform. By the fall or Q3 of next year, they'll start to partner with a lot of companies and add solutions to things like job searches, retail and automotive search, retail or real estate search, and start to partner and sign different customers. By the very beginning of 2019, they will really be able to finally take this to the masses and integrate some of those scalability concerns that we just mentioned. And lastly, the ICO is coming soon. So I'll be covering the ICO completely in a separate video. This video was a little long and it warranted it because it was complicated to explain, I think. Hopefully I did a good enough job. Again, the ICO will be coming mid-October, so look forward to a follow-up video regarding all of the details of that. So that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. Feel free to leave your comments below. What do you think about Bitclave? Do you think it is necessary? What do you think they could do better? Any questions or concerns? I'll be happy to reach out and respond to each and every one of you that takes the opportunity to leave your comment below. Check me out over on Facebook or Udemy. I offer a course on cryptocurrency to get started, one of the best places to get started in learning. And do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. What that does, it allows other people in the community to know that this was worth watching. And stay tuned for my videos. I make these videos here every day. And remember, stay a crypto-somniac because the rich never sleep.